What's up, Taiwan? Good morning. I'm Andrew Ryan with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. The man accused of opening fire on a Taiwanese church congregation in California has been charged with first-degree murder and 5 counts of attempted murder. Police say the 68-year-old man, who was born in Taiwan, was driven by a hatred for Taiwanese people. The shooting has triggered a wave of condemnation and has led to questions about politics and identity, both here and in Taiwanese communities abroad. Our reporter Rick Glauert spoke to Leona Chen, the editor-in-chief of TaiwaneseAmerican.org. He began by asking her how the Taiwanese American community has reacted to the shooting.
I think among Taiwanese Americans, there's a lot of grief and shock at the moment, and I guess that manifests in a couple different ways. I think in a broad sense, the violence is agonizing even without detailed analysis of the shooter and why he targeted a Presbyterian church with a mostly elderly congregation. There's no politics or background that prevents you from sharing in that very human grief of vulnerable people in what is supposed to be a safe space being harmed with this kind of violence. I think a deeper layer of grief exists among those who recognize the significance of their Presbyterian church, where functionally pro-democracy aspirations could exist, but they were also informed and given hope by this theology of liberation. There are instances of Christian missionaries in Taiwan keeping pro-democracy activists safe when they were wanted for execution or questioning by the Chinese nationalist government. And I think the specificity with which David Cho, the shooter, chose that target is very chilling.
What conversations about Taiwanese identity has the incident sparked?
We often talk about Taiwanese identity facing a violent erasure institutionally, diplomatically, in big and small ways. And this was unfortunately a very literal example of that. Taiwanese identity is daily conflated with Chinese identity, either by people who will collapse the differences out of convenience or disregard for the very different experiences of Chinese and Taiwanese, or more powerfully as part of the PRC's willful erasure of Taiwanese sovereignty and identity and self-determination. Taiwanese identity is a hugely politicized construction because claiming it or evoking it as a truth threatens the PRC's fiction that we are all Chinese.
What tension in the Taiwanese identity, and particularly in Taiwanese politics in the country, has this shooting revealed?
I think the shooting has revealed that the immigrating generation has not let go of a lot of the very legitimate and valid conflicts and resentments that they experienced while they were in Taiwan, or that their parents experienced while they were in Taiwan. It meets this moment in the sort of vacuum where misinformation and loneliness and isolation compound these frustrations, and that's, I think, what this shooting was an example of.
Taiwan has completed test flights for its newest military drone called the Cloud Rider. The drone is being developed by the country's top weapons manufacturer and is being modified as details emerge from Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Jaime Okan explains.
This is Taiwan's newest military drone. For the past 2 weeks, the country has been testing it off the southeastern coast of the island. It's expected to play a valuable role in monitoring the activity of the Chinese military, or PLA. The latest version of this drone, known as the Cloud Rider 2, is being developed by Taiwan's top weapons maker, the Zhongshan Institute. They are modifying the drones to accommodate weapon systems like the ones being used in Ukraine in its conflict. Parallels are being drawn between the war in Ukraine and what Taiwan could face in the future if China invades. Taiwan's more powerful and giant neighbor claims sovereignty over the island and has not ruled out taking it by force. Taiwan has similar military hardware to Ukraine and is watching closely how the Eastern European country is using its weapons to fend off its much larger and more resourced neighbor, Russia. As these drones are expected to enter service soon, Taiwan hopes that this new technology will add to its overall defense capability. Damon Lin and Jaime Okan for TaiwanPlus.
The first stage of Taiwan's annual War Games is underway this week amid rising tensions in the Taiwan Strait. This year's drills are designed to test the island's asymmetric warfare strategy in the event of an attack from China. The Defense Ministry says the training will be informed by lessons taken from the war in Ukraine. To discuss this, our reporter Inkvat spoke to Liangzhi Evans Chen, an associate research fellow at Taiwan's government-funded Institute for National Defense and Security Research, or INDSR.
Regarding the asymmetrical warfare, Taiwan can pick up the experience of the war in Ukraine to use its small size but very mobile military to attack China's big, large-scale like naval vessels and armies.
I also hear that the Ukraine lessons is about fighting in urban areas.
That's correct. Well, actually, it's highly urbanized in Taiwan. So the case of Ukraine, especially, the battle in the urban area, that's quite important for Taiwan to develop its military strategy against China's attack.
The exercises will also focus on testing Taiwan's ability to combat cognitive warfare. How exactly will they do that?
We can see, the Ukraine side, they try to emphasize this is the war of justice. It is a just war. And on the other side, the Russia is kind of, invasions. And we also can see that's also the war or the battle between democracy and authoritarians and autocracies.
So for Taiwan, does that mean that there will be this capability within the Taiwan military?
Exactly. I think that's quite important for, the defense side to promote its cognitions all over the world. And that will be kind of international propaganda to persuade the international society to accept our stance, to accept our rights, to defend our homeland, to defend our autonomy.
Taiwan is known for making a lot of high-quality chips, that's computer chips, but now an international food chain has announced a shortage of a different kind of chips. We're talking about French fries. McDonald's has yet to confirm how many of its Taiwan branches are stopping sales, but the company says it will gradually be adding them back to its menus on Friday. Taiwan's biggest annual music awards, the Golden Melodies, heated up on Wednesday with the announcement of this year's nominees. One of the top nominees is Singaporean singer Tanya Chua, who's up for 8 awards this year, including Best Female Singer in Mandarin. Another big nominee this year is Taiwanese singer Crowd Lu, who's up for 4 awards, including Best Male Singer in Mandarin. Both he and Chua have won the top singing awards in past years. The Golden Melody Awards are sometimes called Taiwan's version of the Grammys. They cover more than just Mandopop. Other categories include music performed in Taiwanese Hokkien, Hakka, and indigenous languages. And there's a separate event for traditional music. This year's awards, the 33rd annual event, will take place in the southern city of Kaohsiung on July 2nd. Thanks for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, what does it take to be a zookeeper? Well, here's an inside look at how they do it at the Taipei Zoo with a lot of patience and a huge love for the residents. I'm Andrew Ryan. Take care and have a fantastic day.